You sound nice.
It's a robot voice, yes. I love
Do
the
love
robot.
robot.
I will
I
miss
like
her.
robot voices.
All right. Well, Luke, welcome to Drunk Comics,
Thank you very much
aka
for
the
having
Geek
me
of
on.
Steel, as
That's me.
you're better
Yes,
known.
my moniker. Yes, Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel. That is me. The two names go together now, so I'm stuck with it.
Yes.
As
Like
Mike.
peanut butter and jelly or whatever you guys have that's equivalent over there.
Um, I don't know now. See, this is gonna be a very English American
Marmite and
episode.
toast. Do you have
See, we do have Marmite here, and their slogan literally is, "You either love it or you hate it." I'm not a big fan, but when one is poorly, Marmite is the thing that you eat because it's got all the nutrients that you need.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
I don't like Vegemite. I've tried Vegemite. That's the Australian version of Marmite, and it is vile. Not a
They
fan of
had
that.
Marmite in New Zealand when I was there, and I
Mhm.
wasn't a fan either.
No, it's got a very distinguished taste. Some
It,
people, again, love it or hate it. The slogan works. That's advertising.
so, why don't you tell me a little about yourself?
Okay, I'm Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel. I can't say my name without saying that on there. Mike, who you've had on the show, always, whenever he says my name, he has to say the Geek of Steel. Otherwise, apparently, I have to pay him money. So there we go. But yes, I am a
Okay.
blogger. I am a lover of all things geeky. Superman owns my heart. I am classed as a super fan, but I prefer Superman ambassador. I live my life for Superman because I am obsessed with him.
Oh
And
yes.
yeah, I've enjoyed sharing my passions online for quite some time now, and love interactions such as this, where I get to hang out with like-minded people from all over the world. So I was very excited when you said, "Do you want to come on to Drunk Comics?" And I was like, "Yes, I do," because I've got just the book to talk about.
And we had to do a little bit of finagling with the time difference, but we made it work.
Yeah, so right now it is 9 p.m.
And
and
3 p.m. for me, so I'm day
yes, day
drinking.
drinking. I feel honoured. Thank you so much for having afternoon drinks for me, because in a couple of hours you might need what we call a disco nap in the UK, where you have a little sleep before you continue drinking. A disco. There we go.
Oh no, I'm old. I'm not going to continue drinking.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm not. It's been a. I mean, I do enjoy the occasional drink. It has been a while, but I've had a very busy work week this week. I've got lots of
Yes.
content planned in the future, so I thought tonight I'm going to unwind with a tasty little gin and tonic in a Superman glass, of course, as well. Kryptonite
Yes.
Nevermore, favorite comic. There we go.
I have my Justice League glass.
Now, is this the one that changes color?
It is, and I love it.
Oh, look at that! It's
Ooh, we have the same glass.
We
Glass
do.
twins.
Ching! Cheers!
All right, so why don't you tell me how you got into comics and superheroes and specifically Superman?
It wasn't that long ago, really, in the grand scheme of things. It was in the early 2000s when I was around 19, 20, showing my age there. And I got obsessed with the TV show Smallville. It was on TV
Nice.
here one Sunday morning. I didn't know it was on. This was like pre-internet almost. And I recognized the characters, I recognized the storylines, and I was like, well, this is like, is it some new Dawson's Creek that I've not been told about by the hip generation? Turns out, no, it was all about Superman. And I loved it from that very first episode. I was obsessed. And, that's 10 seasons worth of entertainment that I had. But in between the season breaks, obviously, we had it a lot longer after America had the episodes. So there was like some serious time. I was like, I need my Smallville fix. I'm not happy about what I'm missing out on. So I asked friends, I was like, look, I want to get into Superman comics. What can you suggest? And I got lots of suggestions. And I've been continuing reading ever since. But Superman became a huge part of my life after that. I think mainly because it became very easy for friends and family to buy me birthday and Christmas gifts. It was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
he likes Superman. Let's get him another Superman T-shirt, which I'm always happy to receive. And that escalated to Instagram many years later, where I was very naive and I thought nobody else could see my photographs. I thought it was just a way to you can keep nice looking photographs in your camera roll. And I use that to create a catalogue so I didn't buy the same thing twice. It didn't work because I'm still buying the same thing twice. But I soon met like-minded collectors, and my sort of little following grew, and that turned into the Geek of Steel a few years ago.
Yeah.
And then I enjoyed blogging, and I enjoyed creating content and meeting new people like yourself, and going to Comic Cons and events, and the rest, as they say, is history. And
Oh, yes.
I'm just having too much fun with this little blogging adventure that sort of fell into my lap. So it's enjoyable. It's a fun way to unwind and share one's passions with like-minded people.
And we will link to your blog at the end.
Thank you very much.
Gotta make sure we do the plug.
Gotta get those plugs in there, baby, because I've got a lot. Oh, how's about this then? For an exclusive. When is this episode going to go live?
A few weeks. So
okay.
Mid-November.
That's fine. So last week, if you may have noticed on my social media channels, I got to speak with someone that's not related to Superman at all, but is a hero of mine, and that was Mr. Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh, Tigger,
Yes.
Darkwing Duck, most of the animated characters over the last 50 years, and
That's amazing.
it's been my most favorite interview so far because I was stressed and nervous for about 2 weeks. And then we finally sat down, camera went live, and I showed him my my Winnie the Pooh mug because I was having a cup of tea. And then he just rolled into the Winnie the Pooh voice. And I was like, oh, my heart, I can't take it. You actually are Winnie the Pooh. And one of my favorite interviews to date because he's just such an inspiring character. He's led a fantastic life, and he's voiced many people's childhoods pretty much. So it was an honor to speak with him, and has just fed my passion for interviews even further because I want to do more like that because he was such a fun time.
You're so good at interviewing. So y'all, you need to check that out.
It's a passion and a project that sort of
Mhm.
aimed to be. I didn't want to get into interviewing people, but I'm nosy, I think. So that's probably that's a good thing for an interviewing to be. It's combining a little bit of manners and a little bit of nosiness, and you can combine them both together. But yeah, I
Yes.
definitely, after that interview was finished, I did have a well-earned gin and tonic like I am right now. So it was a good day.
Heck yes. All right. And what comic are you going to talk about tonight?
We are talking about an Elseworlds story, which when I heard about it, I was just over the moon and very excited. And it is True Brit by
Which
John
is like made for you.
I thought, as anybody, when you showed me the list of comics that we could talk about, and I was like, has True Brit been used yet? And you were like, no. I was like, reserve it. I want it. I love the story. I've read it countless times. And with me being British, I thought, segue.
It is a beautiful, beautiful connection. Do you?
Basically, this is it's not to be taken seriously at all. And you can probably tell
Which
that.
is perfect. We've had some really heavy comics.
No.
Well, okay, the last episode I found was Dazzler, but we've had some really heavy comics lately. So
this one is silly. It's a
fun and silly is good.
It's chaos theory at its finest. So it's written by John Cleese from the Monty Python, and I don't think he's written comics before, and there's lots of Monty Python references in this. There's a part when Superman saves the Russells, but in a very short and sweet synopsis, what this story is about is what happens, a lot like Red Sun, is what would have happened if Superman landed in England, not in America or Cold War Russia. And it's so on the back. I'll tell you what, I'll just read the back of the book.
Yes, do it.
True Brit is a new take on the classic Superman legend, courtesy of writer Kim Howard Johnson. He was written for lots of Monty Python books over the years, and John Cleese, and fantastic artwork by John Byrne, I must say.
It's beautiful.
In this very British tale, the last son of Krypton's rocket ship crash lands in an English town even smaller than Smallville, where the infant Kal-El is taken in by his adoptive parents, not the Kents, but the Clarks. who raise their son Colin to hide his
Colin
power.
Clark.
Yeah, because the worst thing anyone can do is stand out from the crowd. But when Colin grows up to become a mild-mannered reporter working for the Daily Smear, a powerful tabloid newspaper dedicated to uncovering the biggest story of the century, he finds the key to his success may actually go public. So yeah, it's the story of Superman with lots of very recognizable characters and villains. If you've not read this book, I'm going to later on, when we get further into it, talk about one of the villains that is just one of the actually worst puns in a comic I have ever witnessed. And I've read a lot
Yes,
of
bring
comics,
on the puns. I
a
love
lot of
puns.
comics from the 70s and 60s where puns were big money back then. But it's great. And I say I've read it many times. This is my second copy. I left my first copy, I think, in a hotel in London somewhere many years ago. So hopefully somebody else might have picked this up and just had absolutely no idea what was going on, because it is a crazy story.
I was going to say, hopefully it ended up in a good home. Oh
It
my
did.
gosh, I love that.
And I've
Look at the
seen
Union Jack.
it's something that's not used that often. I've got a Union Jack Superman flag T-shirt because it's a Superman flag on a Superman T-shirt, and I had to get it. But you don't see that very often. And I've seen a few cosplayers take on this outfit, and it's not easy because she's got really big old gum boots, a very big buckle on that belt, and but it's got a classic Superman face, classic John Byrne Superman. But yeah, very fun. And if you've not read it, go and read it, or listen to me. I'm not going to read the whole book, but we're gonna. It's just
Do a little bit of story time
and fun. It's got lots of hidden visual gags. Now, as stereotypes go, they're pretty much all in here, including like crazy names for pubs. The British being a little bit of the old stiff upper lip, and it is that whole don't let the neighbours know. That's the thing here. I mean, some of the British public are quite reserved, and you don't want to do things that would upset the neighbours, like have a party or be brought home by the police in a van, something such as that. Anything that could get gossip going is something that's not
or
for the
have them
British.
catch your child flying around the backyard.
And exactly that. And the Clarks in this book, they didn't want to associate themselves with this new Superman so much that throughout most of the book, they run away and leave Colin to get on with it, and they will just go to like the ends of the earth, hoping that Colin won't find them. But he does every time because he's obviously Superman. So yeah, they're not the typical Mar and Pa Kent, that's for sure, which was fantastic. And yeah, they look. I'll try and show you some pictures of it, but it's crazy. But it starts up exactly the same as every other Superman origin story of Krypton blowing up, baby alien flies to Earth, and yeah. But it's got mad stuff like when he was training his superpowers, he was used his heat vision to warm up nice pots of tea for his mum and dad. Because
that's the most British thing ever.
Yeah, it's the perfect way to train up those fantastic godlike superpowers by making a tasty beverage. But
because you have to make the tea the exact right temperature.
You do, right. If you were to come to England and visit England, how would you make a cup of tea?
Definitely not in the microwave.
What is up with Gail Simone? Gail Simone on Twitter, she loves to get people upset because she's a wonderful comic troll. But yeah, a lot of America now believes that you make cups of tea in the microwave, and if you did that over here, you're going to make an enemy very quickly.
Some people in America do make cups of tea in the microwave, and that's horrible.
What? I thought it was just a joke.
No, that really is a thing. That really is a thing. I am very sorry to be the bearer of that news. No, I'm a big tea drinker, and I make it with my Keurig right now.
Very nice. Okay.
So yeah, but no, I do not make it in the microwave.
No. But yeah, this book is fun, and I'm going to go for some of the spoilers. But if you've not read it, read it. It's one of those
yes, spoilers. Spoil us.
Spoilers. There's
Give me
going to
the
be
story. Yep.
in the beginning of the book. One of the Colin's pastimes is he loves to play cricket, which is like baseball but very different. And there's lots more English stereotypes, and he likes playing cricket, but his dad's like, don't play cricket too hard, you're going to hurt someone, or they're going to find out about your superpowers. And that does happen. I'm going to try and get to that page because it was quite we're trying to make some friends, and he's at a new school, and cricket bat, like a baseball bat, a little bit chunkier, a little bit bigger. This is where the pun is coming as well. It slips out of his hand and flies through the air. Look, this is dreadful show and tell right now. But basically, the cricket bat flies out of his hands, goes very fast, and spoiler alert, it kills someone. Well,
oh boy,
that's
a little darker then.
It gets dark quick, but he thought he killed him, but he didn't.
Okay.
But, later on, he comes back as a villain, and that man's called Batman.
Oh my god! That is a great pun.
Yeah, but he comes back as because he basically he gets Superman does become, as always in the comic books, he leaves home, he goes off to try and make a name for himself. He works at the Daily Smear, which is obviously a wonderful play on the Daily Planet. He meets the love of his life.
Name, though. But
that's right. I wrote notes when I was on my lunch break earlier on because Lois Lane does feature, but she's called Louisa Lane Ferret. It's quite a British name with a double barrel name and all that. And Perry White, he's obviously the editor of the Daily Smear, and he's called Peregrine White Badger. So they've got some these aren't typical English names. These are sort of slightly upper class names. When, Edward Blythe the 17th, Lord of the Kensington Estate. That's the sort of names that they gave these characters, which I was thinking that's hilarious because actual clerks.
Would upper class people be working for a tabloid?
No, they would sort of. If you watch like The Royal or Downton Abbey, I mean, those are fantastic programs, quite true to life in that certain time. But no, if you sort of had a name like that, you would own the newspaper. You wouldn't necessarily work.
Right. I'm having a hard time suspending my disbelief with these names and this paper.
But the mum and the dad, I mean, they are still obviously they're going.
It's comedy.
It is comedy, and it is silly. It is definitely not one of those stories to take seriously. Growing up, it was a lot like the early days of Smallville. I think that's why I like this book so much. He was learning his powers. He was going out and he found this rocket in the shed, not the barn. He learned about his special heritage, and there was one part where they had a very old horse that they used to take out tree stumps out of the ground. And Colin had this fantastic idea as well. I can work together with the horse to get these stumps out. So he got onto a horse that was tied to the tree stump and just flew up, not realizing that the horse was connected to the chains and the tree stump. So the horse was pretty much doing all the work and straining his back. The horse was okay, but tree stumps went flying everywhere, crashing through houses, crashing through the neighbors' houses, and obviously Mara and Pa Kent were like, stop using your superpowers.
Well, that's not very British. You're upsetting the neighbors.
That's it. Always keep an eye out for the neighbors. But the whole book's like that, but then he goes off and finds his own path, becomes a journalist, creates villains, falls in love, and then there's all sorts of crises happening because obviously when Superman is an issue in the world, people are scared, people are nervous, people are paranoid, and people try to get the mystery and solve all of his secrets. And with it being England, the newspapers are like, we want to bring down Superman, we want to make this guy into a villain. And that's what they try to do. And lots of different mad heroes, including some from the Inland Revenue, sort of people there. Look, he had villains that were accountants, villains that were sort of people that worked in offices. It's all very, very British. And it's just mad concepts for all of it. the artwork is like you wouldn't think it was any different from like like a not a more mature or serious comic, but your classic comic storylines. This was an
Right.
Elseworld story like nothing I'd ever read before. Obviously, yes, I've read the Superman versus Alien books. I read Red Sun. I've read some where it goes back to sort of Arthurian times, and it's just crazy. But this was just one that was silly. I love Superman in comedy storylines. That's why I always love some of the mad stuff
Yes.
from the '60s and the '70s. But this
Oh,
one with that's it. Mad covers. I've When I started going and collecting, we don't have many comic books here in the UK. More and more are popping up. But about 2 hours from me, there is a little place called Brighton, which is very trendy, very hip, very cool. And I went there simply because I knew that they had secondhand comic books. And I went there one day and just bought so many comics. Not because I wanted that particular storyline, it was more about the artwork. So I was getting the stuff that was just insane. Lots of Superman busting through chains, lots of stuff
mhm.
from the early and mid '70s of Superman fighting space cowboys and being
Nice.
stepped on, and lots of promiscuous covers in the late '70s, which I liked as well. So but this one was just silly and funny, and as soon as I started reading it way back when, I just couldn't put it down because obviously it's got all those hints of Superman and Smallville, and then just fantastic artwork like that. Hopefully you can see it. It's just
That is just beautiful.
I do love a full page. There's something about a full page that just makes me very very happy. So I
Spot-
think another thing about the book, he had certain when he was being tested to see if he was an actual hero or not. He was sent on lots of missions and obviously silly tasks like flying around the world and showing off his superpowers. And at the time in the book, the British economy was in a dreadful, dreadful state. And Colin, he had a fantastic idea to save the economy. He went and found lots of coal and he crushed it, as Superman can do. And he kept
Ooh,
crushing it
smart.
and kept crushing it. Smart, but he did it so much that the the value of the diamond reduced so much that
Oh,
because
boy.
he pretty much used all the nation's supply of coal to make diamonds,
Oh,
not only did he devalue diamonds, there was also no coal left for anybody's fires or trains or anything like that. So yeah,
oh,
tried to do
what?
something good, yeah, but ended up doing something very bad. And it was like that's just crazy, crazy madness. And it's something that it was
That's
that one scene I think where
hilarious.
he just had a pile of diamonds as big as a house, and then like nobody had anything to cook their
And
dinners on.
diamonds are really only valuable because if people pay for them.
There you go. And yeah, but in the end,
I
he did.
understand.
There was a Lois Lane character that he fell for. There were no sort of major characters like your Lexes and your Brainiacs. It was mainly these weird ones like Batman, who
Okay, so
still
tell me
had.
more about Batman. I want to hear more about this.
But in the beginning, he was at college with Colin, and then obviously that fateful accident where that cricket bat slipped out of his hands and
But not
impaled him. That's when he really decided that he wasn't going to use his powers for good or for bad or for any sort of self gain. But as as always with Clark Kent and Kal-El, he wants to do the best for the people on Earth or wherever home might be. So he learned lots of stuff. He learned obviously how to be a journalist. He tried to learn hypnotism at one point for some mad reason. He did get
That's so
better at cricket.
random.
Yeah, but he did get better at cricket, and he got better as a journalist. And he started work at the Daily Smear and started working more closely with what was her name, Miss Ferret, not Lois Lane, but Miss Ferret. And yeah, in the UK, as in America, tabloid newspapers are a big thing. And he wanted to get out of that slum of just writing stories for the sake of it, and he wanted to write stories about Superman, but obviously not let anybody know that he was Superman. So
Kind of
it's
like he does in the US.
and
It
that's
was made.
it. And it's got some saucy scenes where he saves people and they're rather scantily clad. It's got angry people. It's got Lois being feisty. It's got scenes of him not dressing up in phone booths as such, but getting changed just on the go. Even though it is silly, there is a lot of heartfelt scenes in it of Superman being Superman, tracking down his mum and dad, doing good deeds like finding unexploded bombs from the Second World War, getting the trains running on time. He met with the Queen. He met with lots of people, but it's a Superman story that will always be very close to my heart, just because it's bloody mad, and it's just got scenes that I would never think possible to be in a Superman book. Even at the end of it, when in this, it's got that wonderful suit on. And it's almost kind of like the end of Iron Man when Tony Stark has a press conference and comes out and says, "Screw it, I'm going to let the world know." And he says it. I am he. But he then decides, because everyone's not too sure of him, he wants a new start. He flies off majestically as always into the distance. And where do you think he went?
Krypton?
No. So, a lovely double page feature. And it says, "I'm just another immigrant. And America's a big country." Plastic suit. Yeah. I
love it.
Goose pimples came up because I love that part of the storyline. So I was
meant to be.
And that's I was hopeful that at that exact moment I thought, well, they could continue this kooky comedic type role in America, but they didn't. It was just it was a one-off. Sadly, I loved it and I wanted more of it. Some of the reviews at the time, they didn't like it that much, which was madness. One of the biggest faults that they say were with this book was that there were too many stereotypes in it, and I was like, well, it's supposed to be. It's a comedy. It's a comedy. Comedy is, finding everything that we find in each other silly. But you could look at Red Sun and notice lots of stereotypical things about that. Wonderful and classic.
Because Red Sun is beloved, whereas this is not. Why?
This one, not many. I mean, some of your big Superman fans are going to know what this book is all about. But I still bump into a lot of people that are like, especially when I've seen some great artwork and people sharing it on Twitter of the true Brit costume. And they were like, "That's an awful costume. Superman would never wear that." And that's when I don't always get into internet feuds because it is pointless. But I'm like, actually, I think you'll find back in 2004, this one was but I don't go full comic book guy, but it's a fantastic story. A few pieces of merchandise came out for it. I've seen some custom statues. I would absolutely love to have one of these little guys. I live a Funko Pop as a true Brit Superman. I've seen a custom one, but I love Funko Pops.
So, is there anything else you want to tell us about the comic?
That basically, if you haven't read it, read it. It's at the minute. I think I did look on Amazon and Amazon US earlier on. It's like $5 for this comic, and that for the artwork alone. It's so cheap. You know what? I'm looking right into your eyes now, people watching this video. It's a bargain, and you deserve a treat. So get online, treat yourself. I'm all about self-care and looking after yourself. So
treat yourself, to quote Parks and Rec.
Fantastic show. Treat yourself 2012. But yes, it's if I'm having a down day or I just want to relax. Here's a behind-the-scenes fact about the Geek of Steel. I like to read my comics in the bathtub because there's no distractions. There's no electrics anywhere because I don't want to get them damaged. So I run a bath, read a comic book, and normally I would read the whole thing and be like a prune by the time I get out. But yeah.
Self-care, man.
Self-care. Yep, I'll put some little salts in there.
Cheers to that. Cheers to self-care.
maybe light a candle, ching. But there we go. But it's $5. So treat yourself to a fantastic download or buy the actual hard copy of this book, because I know there are a lot of die-hard fans out there, and I would one day love to interview John Cleese and talk to him more about this book, because it is just fascinating.
I would love to hear that interview.
That'll be a fun one. It'll be very
Okay, let's tag John Cleese in this. John Cleese, if you're out there.
If you're listening, John, I know you're a retired man now. I think he's on Twitter. He was at one point anyway. But yes, he came to London Film and Comic Con a few years ago, and I couldn't get a ticket because I wanted him to sign my copy, because I knew he'd be like, no one's brought me this before to get signed. But one day I'm hopeful. But yes, a fantastic story, and
Excellent.
one of my favorite Elseworld adventures for sure.
That is fun. I am totally gonna hook myself up because I need to read the full thing now.
Read yourself. You want to need the origins of the Batman. That's what you need to do.
Yes, the true Batman.
The true Batman, not that other.
I'm gonna make people mad. Yes, people, drop your hate. Drop your hate.
They're always about somewhere. They're always just like Batman. They're always lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right opportunity to jump in the scene. But anyway, Batman's all right, just not as good as the Batman. Completely different character, but just as moody.
Yes, just as moody. Well, Luke, thank you for being on the show.
No, it was my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Again, cheers.
Cheers.
If you have that
up there we go. If I drop it over the laptop, that'd be great, wouldn't it? That'd be some quality content.
No,
I won't do that.
No,
I won't do
that's
that.
not the content we're looking for. We're not looking for total destruction.